Good Wednesday afternoon, and thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille Show. It's great to connect with you through the I Love CVille Network in our building, the Macklin Building in downtown Charlottesville, right on Market Street. We're at the corner of 4th and Market, and we encourage you, the viewer and listener, to join us in the discussion. Make sure you're not doing anything over there with the photo downloads, because it's a bit choppy right now. Should only be streaming the show, please. A lot we're going to cover on the program, including, ladies and gentlemen, some reaction to yesterday's interview with Albemarle County Board of Supervisor candidate Scott Smith. If you didn't catch the interview yesterday, it's all over podcasting platforms and social media platforms. Let us know what you thought of candidate Scott Smith today, if you could. He's running as a Republican in the Samuel Miller District, and it's going to be no easy task, ladies and gentlemen, running as a Republican in Albemarle County, but still I applaud his willingness to civically engage and make an effort to represent one of the 6 districts in Albemarle County, the 6th largest county in the Commonwealth of Virginia. His district is unique. It's the largest by geographical territory. It's the wealthiest of the 6 districts, the Samuel Miller District. And it's the least populated of the 6 districts, the Samuel Miller District. We'll talk about Scott Smith interview yesterday. I want to talk on the program, more UVA student housing planned for West Main Street. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Multifamily housing, student housing is being built in abundance. And now the owners of the Standard, that's the apartment complex on West Main Street that is home to Potbelly's sandwich shop. Potbelly's recently closed. The owner of the Standard, the UVA student housing project on West Main Street, is looking to build potentially yet another apartment tower on West Main Street. We'll talk about that on the show today. Ginny Hu, thank you for the retweet. We'll discuss on this program 606 Delevan Street. We were the first, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome Barca Bar Owl on YouTube, now watching. We appreciate you watching on YouTube. We were the first to let you know about 606 Delevan Street. This is, can I call it, without disrespecting it, can I call it a shanty? A shack? Is it a shack? Is it a shanty? Do you have the photos already?
Yep.
Can you put a couple of the photos on screen? It's now under contract.
I think shack is a
shack, shanty,
fair assessment.
Am I disrespecting the listing by calling it a shack or a shanty? Logan Wells Claylow, thank you for watching the show. Jason Noble, Bill McChesney, thank you for watching the show. Traditional Media, thank you for watching the show. This is now under contract, and it's got Judah and I asking the question, is this now the entry point for home purchase in the city of Charlottesville? If you want to own real estate in the city of Charlottesville, is this what you're buying, Judah? Is this what you're buying? For over $200,000. Now it's pending. We don't know the closing price. We'll talk about it on the program today. We will talk on the program 2 new restaurants opening in the shops of Stonefield. 2 chains opening in the shops of Stonefield. I want to get your reaction, viewers and listeners, to 2 chains opening in the shops of Stonefield. One of them a known commodity in Shake Shack. Shake Shack, and a household name in the burgers, fries, and milkshake category of quick serve, fast food type restaurants. A lot we're going to cover on the program, including a bananas story. Bill McChesney is on YouTube. Okay, I now know your YouTube handle. Thank you, Bill. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, Bill. A crazy story out of Lake Monticello and its homeowners association. They are doing this Swim the Lake event.
Yep.
And they're not allowing folks to swim the lake with a life vest on.
That is the word that I have heard.
It is bananas.
Swimmers must be able to complete the swim without the use of flotation devices.
Judah Wickhauer behind the camera. Why have this rule?
Ages 10 to at least 18.
Goodness gracious, just let them wear a life preserver.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it on the show. Studio camera, if you could. And two-shot, the jack of all wits, the jack of all trades, a man who has become a household name across Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia. When we go places for work purposes, folks are very excited to see the distinguished and dapper Judah Wickower. And he is,
I don't know about that.
I mean, they say hi to you.
What?
They say hi to you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you get recognized. They highlight your contributions to the show.
And didn't somebody this morning say that I should run for mayor?
Was it you, they said? I thought that was John Vermillion.
Was he pointing at John?
I think he was pointing at John.
Okay.
It was.
That's fair.
He was pointing at John Vermillion. It was a
don't know.
long-term customer of John Vermillion. We were at Charlottesville Sanitary Supply this morning with John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion, and boy, oh boy, was the business buzzing.
Yeah. They've been very busy through spring.
Throughout the spring and into the summer, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, 61 years in business, proudly serving this community. John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion. The Vermillions are 4 generations of Albemarle County, and their business is 3 generations strong. And we stopped by for an hour and change to catch up with the fellas, and goodness gracious, the energy was palpable and tangible. The communication and the customer service and the happy customers in Charlottesville Sanitary Supply were obvious. I was very impressed with them. I also want to highlight what we're doing at Charlottesville Business Brokers, if we could. We help broker the deals of Crobies on Avon, Tangerine Kitchen, Package Depot, Moe's Barbecue, Great Harvest Bread Company, just to name a few. We're involved in the Rock Revolution, soon to open rock climbing gym on Old Ivy Road. That grand opening is right around the corner. We're working on a deal right now in the home services category that has a business that's doing top line revenue, flirting with $4 million. If you're looking to buy or sell a business, if you need financing or funding for a business or a place to operate your business from a commercial real estate standpoint, you know who to contact. Our team at the Miller Organization and our division with Charlottesville Business Brokers is just crushing it, ladies and gentlemen. And we're very grateful for your deal flow and your support. And if you need some guidance, I'm happy to provide it for you. Been in this community 25 years, nearly 18 self-employed in the commercial brokerage avenue. Judah, goodness gracious, did we learn yesterday? This is a very awkward conversation. Are you ready? Jason Noble also points this out. Did we learn yesterday, as Jason Noble has written on my feed, that being a conservative white male is about as low on the stigma totem pole as you can get in Albemarle County and Charlottesville City?
As low on the stigma totem pole? Does that mean that white men are the least able or the least...
white conservative men
are least allowed to
least
cry foul
welcome
about something?
Least welcomed from a judging a book by its cover, most likely to have a book judged by its cover, and least welcomed from a political ideology, a civic engagement, or some kind of jurisdictional contribution. Jason Noble says the most stigmatized, the white conservative male in Albemarle County in the city of Charlottesville. Did we already know that this is the new scarlet letter? The new tar and feather?
I think that's fair. I think that's been like that for a while. I think we're not the only place either.
Elliot Harding, curious of your thoughts. Sherry Wilcombe, welcome to the broadcast. Scott Smith was on the show yesterday. He's the Republican candidate who's running for a spot on the Board of Supervisors in the Samuel Miller District. His opponent is Fred Missel, who works for the UVA Foundation, the largest developer in Albemarle County. Fred Missel's employer, the UVA Foundation. Scott Smith spent an hour and change with us talking about his platform And the primary points he made, if elected, he will not raise taxes in Albemarle County. A county, we showed the graph on screen. Do you still have the graph?
I believe I do.
This is a chart that was published in a recent Board of Supervisors meeting by County Executive Jeff Richardson. The top line is county expenses.
Oh, wait. You want the map or?
The chart that shows the two lines. Very clear ask here. The top line shows the county expenses. The second line, the bottom line, shows the money that is coming in from taxpayers for Albemarle County. Is that on screen?
Yep.
Take a look at the screen. So the top line, projects, cash outlay for Albemarle County is the top line. Cash outlay for Albemarle County.
Actual expenditure.
Actual expenditure. The bottom line is receivables from Albemarle County. Tax collection. If Albemarle County is going to be able to pay its debts, it has to raise taxes on county residents
To make up that difference.
to close the delta.
Yeah.
And Scott points this out. We all know this. And he says, enough already. Enough already. I was intrigued. That's why I asked him, why make this push as a Republican instead of as an independent? He said, I most aligned as a Republican. I respected his straightforwardness throughout the entire interview.
Yeah.
Was it a strategic error running as a Republican instead of an independent? Perhaps as an independent, he would have been able to pull some of the Democratic voters that were infuriated with real estate tax rate increases while assessments were going up,
Yeah.
personal property taxes going through the roof. Today is tax collection day for Albemarle County. Your taxes are due today, folks. Was it a mistake?
He may have
Elliot
also,
Harding, I'm going to get to your comments.
He may have also avoided the what do you call it? The immediate knee-jerk reaction that I would say that both sides have to the other. People on the right have a knee-jerk reaction to anything perceived as left-leaning, and people on the left have a knee-jerk reaction to anything perceived as right-leaning. I think that's a big problem here, and I hope he can overcome that.
So do you say mistake? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think it was probably a mistake, just on the standpoint of a certain selection of the population is just going to straight up say no without even listening to what he has to say.
Elliot Harding is a political virtuoso and a political insider. Was it a mistake, Elliot, for Scott to run as a Republican for this Samuel Miller district seat against Fred Missel? This is what I would do if I was trying to win the Samuel Miller district seat on the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, Judah. Mm-hmm. First point I would run on is stop the unnecessary spending. And I would tell Albemarle County residents, if I'm elected, I will not vote in my 4 years to raise taxes in any capacity. That's the first thing I would say.
Yeah.
The second thing I would say to Albemarle County residents, taxpayers, is I will not vote any more housing density until we start prioritizing infrastructure and quality of life, until we start getting kids out of trailers at schools and back in the classrooms and student-teacher ratios at reasonable ratios, until we start figuring out how we're going to build a new high school in the north part of town. I would say we are going to prioritize the environment and less traffic on our roads. We're going to prioritize economic development and a way for locals in Albemarle County to climb the professional ladder. If we do not prioritize locals getting education and experience and nuance and know-how in data science and artificial intelligence and biotechnology, computer science, coding, technology of any capacity, you're going to see massive displacement, and you're going to see a shrinkage, significant shrinkage of the working class and the middle class in Albemarle County. It's going to become an even more homogeneous and wealthy county. We are losing jobs left and right in Albemarle County that otherwise, jobs that cater toward working class and middle class families. We just lost another employer or another opportunity to work with the Kroger grocery store on Hydraulic. They're consolidating from 3 to 2.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say, people are going to be out of work here. They're not going to take the employees from a Hydraulic grocery store and add them to the Rio Hill and Barracks Road grocery stores that were already operating efficiently.
I've heard that the other two were understaffed.
I'll believe it when I see it. You're the first to say profits over people. And this is a company that's profit-focused like all of them are. He's got a clear-cut path to victory. He can also point out that Missile works for the UVA Foundation. If he works for the largest developer in Albemarle County, Fred Missile, would he have to recuse himself on all votes tied to UVA? It's one thing, Brian Pinkston on Charlottesville City Council.
Yeah.
He works for UVA, but he's a paper pusher.
Yeah. He's not making decisions.
He's a middle manager at UVA. He's a peon in the University of Virginia employment hierarchy. Pinkston, and it's no shade on Pinkston, he would say the same thing. He's a peon. Missile's working for the foundation, the developer, the owner, the largest developer and owner. Mm-hmm. Do we not say that is a conflict of interest? I also like how Scott Smith highlighted in yesterday's interview the need to make, Deep Throat calls it ministerial tasks, paperwork filing, permitting, stuff tied to contracting and remodeling, just making the process less red tape, as Keith Smith likes to call it, and more green tape.
Yeah.
A lot to like about Smith. I hope Scott Smith hears that. I really hope he hears that. And I would encourage the viewers and listeners to listen to yesterday's interview. I don't know if Albemarle County is going to be able to get the Samuel Miller District over the R next to his name. But there is a lot to like about him. I also need to hold the Albemarle County Republican Party accountable. Albemarle County's Republican Party needs to do a much better job at a number of areas. The first area, it has to get younger. It has to figure out a way to youngify itself, to bring youth into the organization. Okay? Has to figure it out. The rainmakers, the C-suite, the candidate pickers, whatever you want to call them, all boomers and up. Mm-hmm. It's got to get younger. It's got to get nuance with its social media and digital media. I watched Dave Shreve at the Jack Jewett District try to beat Sally Duncan strictly by knocking on doors in the Jack Jewett District. His whole strategy, he told us off air, was, I'm going to knock on more doors than her. I straight up said to his face, Dave, that is not a winning strategy.
Yeah.
Where is your social media presence, your digital media presence? And he said, I'm going to win on door knocking. Scott said yesterday, I'm going to win on door knocking. I said, Scott, where is your social media and your digital media presence?
Yeah.
You're not going to win without social media and digital media. Mm-hmm. And if the Republican Party of Albemarle County is not educating its candidates, this is how you win in 2025. It's doing its candidates a significant disservice. And right now, Scott doesn't have a Facebook page. He doesn't have an Instagram page. He doesn't have a single social media account, and we're on the 25th of June.
In his defense, his opponent has a Facebook page, but it doesn't have a single post.
But his opponent's running with the Democratic machine.
I know.
It's not an apples to apples comparison. Respectfully, Judah. Respectfully. Do you agree?
Yeah, he's already on a back foot being a Republican.
The Albemarle County Democrats in any of the 6 districts, hell, the Charlottesville City Democratic Party could run a chimpanzee, could run a dodo bird.
You're saying that you think Charlottesville and Albemarle County Democrats would vote for, and you're probably right, vote for a dodo bird over a Republican?
Yeah, they could run Kevin the robot from Saved by the Bell. And Kevin the robot from Saved by the Bell, Screech's robot, would win. They could run Screech Powers, Jesse Katsopoulos, Steve Urkel, Tim the Toolman Taylor, Al Borland.
I think Tim is
Cosmo
a
Kramer. They could run any of those guys and win.
Yeah.
It's not like they need the social media and the digital. They have the machine. And I'll circle back to how I started the program. Is there more stigmatized, tarred and feathered, demonized, hated, villainized, socioeconomic type than the white conservative male?
No.
Right? The city of Charlottesville, with school board, its school board race, the Democratic Party has Ziana Bryant running for Charlottesville City School Board. You are talking about an activist that has done some very questionable things in her past.
Yep.
You can make an argument one of the most divisive individuals over the last 10 to 15, let's call it 10 years, over the last 10 years, one of the most divisive individuals in Charlottesville City over the last 10 years, Ziana Bryant. And she has a very good opportunity to being elected to the Charlottesville School Board and determining, along with school board colleagues, the allocation of a public school budget. Do you think she's going to win?
I think she's got a very good chance.
I think she's got a very good shot as well. Do we want to make a prop bet on this? If you had a hunch, would you say win or lose?
I'd say probably win.
I say if I had a hunch, she'd probably win here. You have one of the most divisive people over the last 10 years, and both you and I who follow this closely are saying she's probably going to win.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, who's campaigning against her?
Ned Galloway, friend of the program, with the Democrat with the D next to his name, for not one, not two, but 3 straight terms, is running unopposed in the Rio district. Unopposed.
Yeah.
Diantha McKeel, unopposed. For how many terms? And the Jack Jewett, she just retired.
4.
Is in the process of retiring. Is it 4?
4 or 5.
Ann Malik? She was opposed by Steve Harvey, but how many times did she run unopposed?
I couldn't say. And
Steve Harvey ran as a Republican.
he tried.
He got bulldozed. He got bulldozed in the Whitehall district.
Yeah.
Was it Mike Callahan, the attorney, who got bulldozed by Donna Price in the Scottsville district? The Scottsville district, I was having this conversation with Deep Throat over direct message yesterday. The Scottsville district, of all the districts in Albemarle County, there's 6 of them. Can you name the 6?
Jack Jewett.
Yeah?
Samuel Miller.
Yeah?
Rio.
Rio, that's 3. You're on a roll here. I just said one of them.
Yeah, I wasn't listening. No, I'm joking. I can't think right now.
Scottsville?
Scottsville, yeah.
Rivanna?
Ravenna.
How many did we get there?
I think that's 5.
Whitehall?
Whitehall.
Did you say Whitehall?
No.
Whitehall District, Rivanna District, Jack Jewett District, Scottsville District, Rio District,
Samuel Miller.
Samuel Miller. Of all the districts, the Scottsville District is the most red and conservative of all the districts. The town of Scottsville, one of the 3 voting blocks in the Scottsville District, very Republican, the town of Scottsville. Problem is you only got like 400 or 500 votes tops there.
Yeah.
The Glenmore area, leaning red because of the wealth. I'm not saying it's red, but it's certainly closer to red than blue. You got a lot of votes there. Potentially 1,500 or so in that area. The Mill Creek voting block, Avon Extended, votes as Charlottesville City does. You want to win the Scottsville district? You crush it in the town of Scottsville, you crush it in the Glenmore voting block, and you don't get annihilated in the Mill Creek voting block. In the last 2 Board of Supervisor races in the Scottsville district, you've seen Mike Pruitt win and Donna Price win. Both friends of the program. Pruitt and Price, progressive Democrats, as progressive as you're going to get, and dominated their win. Absolutely dominated. Pruitt ran unopposed.
Yeah.
I'll leave this conversation until we get to the next. I'll leave this topic here. I want a viewer and listener to make a convincing argument for me. Is there a more stigmatized, villainized, or demonized person in Albemarle County than the white conservative male? Find me one. Name one. Next topic, Judah Wickhauer, what do you got?
More UVA student housing.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Hall Spencer on this reporting. Put that lower third on screen if you can. The Standard, which is the apartment tower on West Main Street that's home to Potbelly's Sandwich Shop. Potbelly's Sandwich Shop just closed, right?
Yeah.
This developer wants to build more housing on West Main Street. The developer is Landmark Properties. They built the Standard 7 years ago. 661 bedrooms on West Main Street. Now they want to replace a forested plot on 7th Street Northwest near the train station with a 7-story, 300,000 square foot, 157-unit residential structure that has 257 parking spaces, and they're going to call it the Mark. This developer is out of Athens, Georgia. They build the apartment towers and then they manage them themselves. They want to do this, ladies and gentlemen, on West Main Street. And it's left me asking you, the viewer and listener, this question. We have, currently under construction now, the Verve, next to Scott Stadium, which is more than 1,300 beds, Judah. We have, currently, under construction now, Judah Wickhauer, next to Moe's Barbecue, another apartment tower, right?
Former Truist building.
The former Truist building. We have the old Ivy residences. In fact, I'm going to give you the exact breakdown here. ilovecville.com/new construction. If you want the nitty-gritty of what's going on, ilovecville.com/new construction. The old Ivy residences by St. Anne's Belfield on the bypass, 525 total units there. This is going to make, when it's finished, entering and exiting St. Anne's Belfield Academy an absolute nightmare. And it's already nightmarish. Next to Moe's Barbecue, they're building Bloom, which is 641 beds and 231 units. They're building the Verve next to Scott Stadium, which is 463 units and 1,332 beds. And the University of Virginia on the grounds of the Darden School for Darden students, 218 units and 348 beds. All those projects are going to open within 6 months of each other. Now an Athens-based developer that prioritizes or builds student housing wants to build on West Main Street, ladies and gentlemen, an apartment tower that is 661 bedrooms, 157 units, 300,000 plus square feet, and 257 parking spaces. Either these guys know something that we don't, but from my perspective, all this housing that's coming online at the exact same time is gluttonous and causing saturation. Maybe they know something that we do not know. I will say this, regardless, you, the viewer and listener, regardless, Judah Wickhauer and I, regardless, our children, our partners, and our families will face quality of life impact because of these projects. When do we say to developers, out of market ones in particular, enough with the building already? We cannot accommodate this. The parents that are on the bypass around 3 o'clock when St. Anne's Bellefield's getting let out are parked a mile down the bypass on the shoulder in standstill traffic because they can't pick their kids up from school in time. You think that's going to get any better once Old Ivy Residence is finished, ladies and gentlemen? And right across the street from the entry to St. Anne's Bellefield Academy, you're going to have another 3,000 people living there with their cars? These are the type of things that I would do if I was running and be like, look, no more of this. If you're just tuning into the program, the out-of-market developer out of Athens, Georgia, who owns the Standard on West Main Street, it's the apartment tower that is home to the recently shuttered Potbelly Sandwich Shop with apartments above it, is chitter-chattering with elected officials in City Hall in Charlottesville about building another massive apartment tower on West Main Street. And the last commentary on this, and jump in if you want to on anything. Mm-hmm. Remember when Livable Charlottesville, Matthew Gilligan, Stephen Johnson, and Nakia Walker and the activists in CVille, they kiboshed and crushed the West Main Streetscape project, a project that Kathy Galvin and Heather Hill were championing, a project that included free money contributed to Charlottesville City roads. The city owns its roads from VDOT.
Which we ended up having to give back, didn't we?
And money from the University of Virginia, which we ended up saying we're not going to take this because instead we're going to do the Buford School reconfiguration. We're going to use our money, Charlottesville City, to do the Buford School reconfiguration instead of taking the free money from VDOT, the free money from UVA to make West Main Street more,
Viable?
Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Viable.
That would have been wonderful.
We said no to that free money and instead ramrodded apartment towers on West Main Street. Now more apartment towers on West Main Street, but hey, 24 months from now, we're going to have Buford looking pretty good. 24 months from now, we're going to have Buford looking pretty. Don't worry about it, guys. One of the most important gateways insane in the membrane. Georgia Gilmer, Elliot Harding, William McChesney. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. We'll put them in the feed. Stacey Baker Patty makes a joke. A member of the Taliban would have the Democrats vote in Albemarle County before the white conservative male gets their vote. She means that tongue-in-cheek, but trying to make a point right there. Next headline, Judah. I said Kevin's robot, Screech's robot from Saved by the Bell. I can't include Jesse Katsopoulos from Full House in there because Uncle Jesse was a pretty cool guy, was he not?
You've got me.
Uncle Jesse, Danny Tanner, Joey Gladstone, cut it out. You got it, dude. Michelle Tanner. Come on. You know what I'm talking about, right? Steve Urkel. What was Steve Urkel's alter ego name from Family Matters?
I have no idea.
Stefan, yeah. Tim the Toolman Taylor and Al Borland. They had a beautiful
I don't know.
contributor to their TV show. They had a beautiful contributor to their TV show. Who was that beautiful contributor to their TV show initially? On Tool Time. Tim the Toolman Taylor and Al Borland hosted a TV show professionally. That's what they did for a living.
Yeah.
Who was the beautiful contributor on Tool Time? Pamela Anderson. One of Pamela Anderson's initial breaks before she rose to stardom with Baywatch.
Interesting.
Yeah. Next headline. What do you got, Judah Wickauer?
606 Delevan.
It's under contract. We were the first to report the shack or shanty. Deep Throat, I'm getting to your comments next. Delevan Street. Ginny Who, I'm getting to your comments next. Delevan Street's under contract. Do you got the photos?
Yep.
Put the photos on screen. 606 Delevan Street is under contract, ladies and gentlemen. Is this the entry point for a house in Charlottesville City? Now, the price cuts have been significant. It was on market for 70 days or change, about 70 days before it went under contract. It initially was listed on April 11th for $300,000. Then April 16th, cut to 275. April 30th, 250. The 15th of May, 235,000. And the 30th of May, 225K. This is now under contract, 606 Delevan. Obviously, the play here, ladies and gentlemen, is the tear down of the structure and the opportunity that comes with the upzoning. I would hesitate, ladies and gentlemen, to pursue any development in the city with the upzoning lawsuit going on. But that's the play here. Judah, 225,000. Let's say it trades around 200. What do you make of this story?
It's kind of nuts, but dirt is at a premium here. Just not much of it exists. So if someone's willing to pay that much for the dirt, then I would assume that they've got the money to tear it down and build something in there, because I don't think that's a fixer-upper.
There's an out-of-market LLC. The LLC is Goodbye Real Estate LLC, owned by an out-of-market owner. Goodbye Real Estate LLC purchased 606 Delevan Street for $150,000 on March 21 of this year. I'm on the Charlottesville GIS right now. $150,000. So in, call it 3 months' time when this deal closes, less than 4 months when this deal closes, Goodbye Real Estate LLC, for buying something, listing something, and selling something, is going to walk with somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000. Now, that's not all profit. There's real estate commissions, there's taxes, there's recording fees, there's closing costs. But I can assure you the listing agent, Gordon Cohen, with the out-of-market real estate brokerage, Y-Shirt Realtors, is taking a haircut on the commission. It's not the full 3%, I can assure you. So this out-of-market owner, Goodbye Real Estate LLC, that also owns 501 Ridge Street. They purchased 501 Ridge Street in April for $300,000. They purchased 500 Ridge Street on May 1 for $147,000. They spent $147,000, $300,000, and $150. Call it $597,000 exactly. Basically $600,000 at one period in Charlottesville to buy the real estate from a family. Real estate owned by a family, the Burton family. $600,000 they gave the Burton family. The Burton family clearly has properties that need upkeep or might even be torn down. And then they immediately turned around and listed the 3 properties to make some money very quickly. Props to the out-of-market buyer.
Yeah.
You roll your eyes?
No, I'm not rolling my eyes. I'm just
Capitalism.
I'm just sarcastically thinking in my head, yay, yay speculators.
I get it. Someone local could have bought it, right?
Could have.
501 Ridge Street right now is listed for $490K. 500 Ridge Street, let's look at the third property they bought. 500 Ridge Street is listed for, all right, write these numbers down. Back of the napkin numbers. Are you ready?
Yeah.
500 Ridge Street, this is the out-of-market LLC that bought it from the Burton family. Jim Hingley just walked by. 500 Ridge Street is listed for $330,000. It's not pending yet. 501 Ridge Street is listed for $490,000.
490?
$490,000. $490,000. 500 Ridge Street, $330,000. You got that?
Yeah.
501 Ridge Street, $490,000. We know that Delevan Street just went under contract at $225,000. So give me the list price for the 3 pieces of property. $225,000 plus
Plus 330.
$330,000.
Yep.
Okay.
490.
Plus 490. The 3 list price $1,045,000 combined, right? $1,045,000 down. The purchase prices for these homes, write these purchase prices down, okay? 606 Delevan Street, $150,000.
160.
What?
160.
Yeah. 150.
150.
501 Ridge Street, purchase price $300,000. 501 Ridge Street, $300,000. And then 500 Ridge Street, the purchase price $147,000. Give me the purchase prices, please, so I can add them up.
It's 597 total. It's 150, 147, and 300.
150 plus 147 and 300.
Yeah.
$597,000 the acquisition for the 3 pieces of property. The list was combined what?
1.45 million.
This out-of-market buyer is trying to flip 3 properties that are completely falling down, purchase from a family where the next generation of family members has no interest in keeping them, has no interest in maintaining them or upkeeping them, may not have the capital to do so, and can turn around and do a quick flip and make, is it $500K if it goes by ask price? What's the delta?
Yeah.
Roughly $500,000.
Yep. Roughly that.
Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Roughly $500,000.
Yeah.
Now, that's not profit. There's going to be closing costs, recording fees, taxes, real estate commissions. But we're talking well over $250,000, probably over $300,000 in profits right here. For understanding the concept of the power of dry powder. Cash is king. That's the power of dry powder right there. Deep Throat's comments. Number 1 in the family. Ginny Who, you're on deck. Love when Deep Throat watches the show. He's in a sprawling ranch in Montana, I believe, right now. Just got back from Paris, I believe he did. He says, for the viewers and listeners' information, I have all the development pipeline data for Charlottesville City. 1,109 units in the pipeline are student housing. That's out of 3,400 in the pipeline. Also, I am not including the West Main project that you guys were just talking about. He says, of the projects under construction, 792 out of the 1,190 are student units. He says the CFRP organization said the main product of new zoning would be luxury student housing. Livable Charlottesville said that would not be the case. Instead, the housing that would be built would be housing for working class and locals. Livable CVille has proven to be incorrect. The housing that is being built is luxury housing stock.
Yeah. And a lot of it.
And he closes by saying this, there you go. Upzoning equals allowing speculators to take advantage of unsophisticated locals. Rather than having racially suspect RNA designation, the city should have created requirements that any developer who buys and wants to develop has made full disclosures to the seller of the development potential. It would make sure that people aren't taken advantage of. You have a family, and I'm by no means trying to throw shade to the James and Irene Burton family. I'm by no means throwing shade at the Burton family. But you have a family that owns 3 pieces of property in the city of Charlottesville that need significant uptick and significant work and significant capital. You have an out-of-market speculator that has cash on hand and is nuanced and sophisticated. The out-of-market speculator who has cash on hand and is nuanced and sophisticated utilized a broker from Harrisonburg to go into Charlottesville to give a lump sum. What was the lump sum for the 3 properties purchased?
Wasn't it?
You wrote it down, Judah. You wrote it down.
We're talking about the sum.
The acquisition price for the 3 properties.
The acquisition price was $597.
Are you sure that's the number?
That was the lower number, yeah.
$597 was acquisition. You have you're sure about that?
Yeah.
You have an out-of-market buyer that gave a family that can't keep their properties in good condition a check for $597,000 and now has, a month and change later, the 3 properties listed for over $1 million.
Yep.
Because the in-market family from Charlottesville was not nuanced or sophisticated enough to realize the upside of what they had. And everything that was done here was completely permissible, legal, above board. I will even say ethical. You'll push back on the ethics of this, wouldn't you?
I mean,
Is it unethical, viewers and listeners? Is it unethical, Judah?
Not really.
The guy played within the rules of the game.
They bought property and now they're selling property.
It's not unethical. The seller didn't understand what they had. And Livable CVille bullied Charlottesville City Hall and Charlottesville City Council into this radical zoning code that made all the dirt, as I've said for years on this program, as John Blair said, as Deep Throat said, incredibly opportunistic.
Yeah.
And the sharks entered the water and they preyed on the unsophisticated fish. And the unsophisticated fish is the Burton family.
I would say it's a lot more than just the Burton family.
Oh, no, absolutely no doubt about it.
In its simplest form, we've essentially taken 3 properties and at least doubled the prices without any work, without any, obviously without any work on the actual properties. It's, I would say, disheartening for anybody that's looking at properties in Charlottesville and seeing this.
You're putting photos on screen?
Yeah. Seeing this go from what?
A shanty?
$150,000 to,
So let's call it somewhere between $200 and $225.
yeah, in the course of a few months without anything other than the property changing hands.
Exactly.
It's kind of, if you were someone who's maybe a little bit younger looking for, a first home, it's got to be
Demoralizing? Disheartening?
Definitely.
Because if you're a younger person looking for your first home, you may consider buying this. And I shouldn't say a shack or a shanty, because someone's shack or shanty could be someone's house.
Yeah.
But this zoning allowed an out-of-market buyer to come in, scoop it up, and drive the price of it up 50 to 60%.
Yeah. In a few months.
In a few months.
And in doing so, probably create some new comps for other properties in the areas.
You're on point right now. You're exactly on point. And doing so makes every house on that street's tax base more expensive.
Yeah. And harder to purchase for somebody looking for a house.
There it is. A comparison on the other side of the spectrum is what's coming to Lewis Mountain, when Evergreen Builders and Developers builds a $3 million mansion with a detached garage and an in-law suite above the garage at 303 Alderman Road. And when they do that and scratch their brownstone plans, there's 6 brownstones, and build a $3 million mansion, the tax exposure on all those Lewis Mountain homes is going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
This comes from someone in the, what's the quote? I won't utilize his name. What's the quote, JP? He says the market had a willing buyer and a willing seller. Okay, I'm in this game. I don't have a problem with this at all. My problem is with the Matthew Gillikins and the Livable CVilles of the world. Because they thought they were creating a set of rules for the game that was going to be advantageous for the working class, the middle class, the person that's getting pushed out of Charlottesville.
Well, they thought they were going to create upward building, right?
They thought that they were going to create, they thought by making the zoning more flexible, that they were going to create more supply of housing.
Yeah, you could take out a house in a neighborhood and put in a multifamily unit.
But instead, what they did was make everything more opportunistic. And the people that jumped on the opportunity are the people with the money who are concerned or focused on making money, more of it.
Yeah.
JP says the quote is, we are selling to willing buyers at the current fair market price. He says this is a great quote from Margin Call about capitalism. I love Margin Call, the movie. He says, this is the quote from Margin Call, we are selling to willing buyers at the current fair market price. And he says the reality is that the market will always have a buyer and a seller at a price that the people in the market will buy. It's true. It's 100% true. It's how I said what I said about executive office space, this building, the Macklin building, where we have 24 executive offices in here. As soon as friend of the program, Jaffrey Woodruff, finished building the code building, the executive offices in there command $1,400 a month for a very small office. As soon as he did that, every office that I had in this building jumped 35 to 45% overnight. We raised our rates 35 to 45% overnight once that was done. And then word got out all over downtown what he was charging, what Code was charging, what Rob Archer was charging, what Codebase was charging over there. And then everybody else followed suit.
Yeah.
And then now that's what they rent for. Overnight. Our overhead didn't go up.
Right.
He also adds via text message, and this guy's in the game, the issue is that the city only wants the type of units that gets their votes. The reality is the market only stabilizes with more product. 100%. 100%. 100%. Unbelievable. Lonnie Murray, welcome to the broadcast. We have city councilors, supervisors, planning commissioners watching the Wednesday edition of the I Love CVille Show. What's the next headline?
Next up, we have 2 new restaurants opening in Stonefield.
First off, this is what I'm going to say about the 2 new restaurants opening in Stonefield. Filling vacancies is a good thing.
Yeah.
Vacant storefronts breed other vacant storefronts. Filling vacancies is a good thing. Did I like when the Charlottesville Redevelopment and Housing Authority purchased a building right in the dead center of the downtown mall? Absolutely not. But is having the Charlottesville Redevelopment and Housing Authority as an owner and tenant of the old Vita Nova building better than having that building sit absolutely vacant and have homeless excrement smeared all over the front door of it? Absolutely. CRHA as an owner and tenant of a building in the heartbeat of the downtown mall is better than homeless excrement on the front door.
That's fair.
Shops of Stonefield. Vacancies versus occupied space. Occupied space, Shake Shack, and this new brand I'm learning about. What is it? Chicken Salad Chick.
Chicken Salad Chick. Yeah.
The two new restaurants to come to the shops of Stonefield. I wish them success. Props to the team that leases the shops of Stonefield.
Yeah.
I will offer this commentary. Is Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville the best markets for out-of-market chains to penetrate? Obviously, the out-of-market chains see an opportunity in Albemarle County, or they would not pay what is top price rent.
My question is, are out of market businesses, out of market franchises, the only viable option now?
It's a great question. That's a great question.
We saw
Judah Wickhauer is basically saying in the year 2025, when the cost of goods is through the roof, in the year 2025, when labor is in such short supply that labor can command top dollar prices, and the year 2025, when credit card debt and floating debt is expensive, when rents are expensive, and when the customer spending habits have shifted to more third-party delivery and eat at home versus in-restaurant dining, are the only food and beverage businesses that are capable of surviving. Big box brands, major corporations, and national chains. The the food and beverage businesses that are having the most success in Charlottesville and Albemarle County, let's rattle them off the top of our head. I will die on this hill. Even though they are closed 1 day a week, they're open only 6 days a week, I will die on the hill that the food and beverage brand that generates the most top-line revenue in Charlottesville and Albemarle County is Chick-fil-A. I'm talking dollars per unit, dollars per square foot. I'm saying Chick-fil-A, I'm comfortable dying on that hill. Number 2, is anyone going to argue with me on Starbucks?
I don't know enough about Starbucks.
Is anyone going to argue with me on Starbucks? I'll say Starbucks in the 3 slot. Okay? What's in the 2 slot Starbucks? What's in the 3 slot?
I'd say Bodo's is pretty high up there.
Judah's going to have Bodo's in the 3 slot? All right, I'll give you Bodo's. I don't know if I'm agreeing with Bodo's in the 3 slot. I think the 3 slot's more looking like a McDonald's to me, with their drive-thrus, with their mobile app, with their third-party delivery. I think it's a McDonald's, but I'll give you Bodo's for the sake of conversation in the 3 slot. I'll put McDonald's in the 4 slot, okay? 5 slot, is it probably Raising Cane's? I'm talking dollars per unit. Raising Cane's has got an effing traffic logjam on Route 29. The cock block. Raising Cane's is stacking paper on the cock block despite drowning in cocks on 29 with KFC,
Zaxby's,
with Chick-fil-A, with Zaxby's, and Popeyes. There's cocks everywhere, and still Raising Cane's dominates the cock block. I'll go Raising Cane's in the 5 slot. You disagree?
No, I don't disagree. I don't know enough about how much money they're making.
6 slot. Do we go with the Gordon and Taylor Sutton's Tiger Fuel markets? The markets at Bel Air and all the markets around town? Do we put them in the 6 slot? The Tiger markets? Is that too high for them?
Potentially. It's hard to say.
The point that we're making here, I mean, Chipotle's got to be somewhere in there. Panera Bread's got to be somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, at some point it gets a bit muddy.
This comes in for
Wawa?
someone who knows this. I won't utilize his name because I respect him too much. He says Burton's, and he would know this. Burton's is the highest grossing full-service restaurant in this market. Burton's in Stonefield. He says full service is the key words he's using there, and he's in the game. He says, Burton's is the highest grossing full-service restaurant in the market. This is a person that would know. If I wanted to ask that question, I would text this person for the answer. He says it's Burton's highest grossing full service. How about quick serve or fast food? Person who texted me that. What's the top grossing unit? It's Chick-fil-A, is it not? So Judah asked the question, and I asked the question of you, the viewer and listener. Do you have to be corporate? Do you have to be big box brand? Do you have to be this cash rich with your balance sheet to survive in a market like Charlottesville and Albemarle County?
We've certainly seen locals.
He says probably Chick-fil-A. I think we're all in agreement there. Probably Starbucks in the 2 slot. Judah says Bodo's in the 3 slot. I push back with the McDonald's in the 3 slot. The locals Friday's the last day for Tubby's. Been around since 1981.
Yep.
Blue Moon Diner, we broke the news last week that there's an ownership team of 3 guys that are opening a pub and a restaurant in the old Blue Moon Diner spot, and word I'm hearing is have purchased the diner, the real estate itself.
Yeah.
This person pushes back the same way I push back on your Bodo's comment. The average price per ticket is too low. Deep Throat, I happen to be excited about Shake Shack. My kids are always excited to connect through CLT or Denver. That's where I fell in love with Shake Shack, was the Charlotte airport as well, Deep Throat, or Denver, so they can get Shake Shack. I remember when the very first one opened in Madison Square Park, next to the CSFB office. I wanted to try it, but the lines were insane. My coverage at CSFB said, let's set up a meeting at the office around lunch, and I'll make an intern to go wait in line. Deep Throat Deep Throat likes those acronyms. Tip Top Bill McChesney is no longer the top grossing sit-down restaurant. Tip Top crushes it, but I think Tip Top's best days were when Tip Top Terry was running the show at Tip Top. Terry still owns a boatload of restaurants, a boatload of real estate around this area, by the way. Props to the rental team for getting Shake Shack, and I'll give this new place a try too. The Chicken Salad Chick. I like chicken salad. I like chicken salad. You don't like chicken salad?
It's okay. I don't know that I'd go to a restaurant firmly focused around.
I like the novelty of chicken salad. John Blair on LinkedIn. Jerry, in the end, Albemarle and Charlottesville are so far to the left of the country because of a belief that the top 5% did not earn their wealth. Look at New York City results last night. The folks at the bottom of the income scale voted for Como. It was those above $50,000 in income that votes for Mamdani. What is really going on is the following. Those with high levels of credentialed education simply believe they are supposed to be at the top of society. A 1350 or 1400 SAT entitles them to be at the top of their minds. They think they deserve to be in the top 2 or 3%. They truly cannot stand the real estate guy, the electrical company owner, the successful small business owner, and the top 2 or 3% of wealth, but they don't have the formal educational credentials that the 5 to 20% have. This isn't just Charlottesville and Albemarle. It's any locality that is largely populated with people in the 5 to 20%. Their politics veer far to the left because they believe that somehow it's unjust that the HVAC guy or the guy has 5 multifamily LLCs is within the top 5%, and they are not. I tip my hat to anyone who goes out and busts their tails to pull it all off, but many think that guy's not as smart as me. He shouldn't have that wealth. I think there's a lot of that right there. That's called jealousy. That is called jealousy. You look at the biggest activists in Charlottesville, they can have every book on their shelf and say, I've read every single one of them. But you know what the difference in smarts are? Okay? You know, I've been doing this for 17 years of waking up every day and figuring out where you're going to get your paycheck, being self-employed, being a business owner. I've highlighted this on previous shows. There's been probably 3 times in those 17 years where my nuts were so much on the line that if one thing didn't go the right way, I would have been professionally castrated. 3 times in 17 years, so much leverage was on the line that if it did not go the right way, now I hedged the right way. I hedged the exposure, but there was still exposure. That it didn't go the right way, professionally castrated. And not everyone can do that. And it's not reading books that allows you to do that. Mm-hmm. It's not sitting in a classroom that allows you to do that. It's going out and connecting with people and networking with people and failing more times than you succeed and learning from the failures. It's having mentors and really smart people around you.
Yeah.
Anything else on today's show? Speaking of money, we got to go make some money. It's 1:40. What else is on there?
No life jackets.
All right, this is your headline over here. Vanessa Parkhill, Shake Shack and the Burger Batch spot. That's correct. That's correct. The Burger Batch spot was Pasture Restaurant.
Yeah.
Pasture, owned by a restaurateur out of Richmond. He, Jason Alley, owned Pasture Restaurant. He's since got out of running restaurants. He had a significant, and he's open about this, so I'm not speaking out of turn, a serious problem with alcohol. Went to AA and is now sober. And as part of his recovery, he's got out of the restaurant ownership game. And then Pasture closed, and Burger Batch took over. We knew the Burger Batch team really well. They were out of Richmond. They've closed their restaurants. And now Shake Shack has taken the Burger Batch spot. I want everyone to have success. I would rather a chain, an out-of-market chain, have success than us have vacant storefronts. I would rather the CRHA be in the building on the downtown mall, dead center, despite not fitting the downtown mall in any capacity, the Charlottesville Redevelopment and Housing Authority, because if they don't take that spot, homeless excrement is smeared on the front door. And that's not what I want. Now, you want to talk about life jackets in Lake Monticello.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. The Swim Across the Lake event, this will be taking place Friday, July 4th at Lake Monticello. It's an annual event, and the bullet points have some of the rules, one of which is swimmers must be able to complete the swim without the use of flotation devices, which sounds like all they're saying is that the swimmers all have to be able to swim without flotation devices. But somebody called and confirmed that actually life jackets aren't allowed because, and they wrote in quotes, you have to be able to swim across the lake on your own. Now, that's all fine and good, but all the swimmers, the minimum age requirement to swim across the lake is 10 years old. And one of the first things they say on the form is to promote safety during this well-attended event, ...
Lake Monticello Homeowners Association. You guys screwed up the PPP loan, and you took a PPP loan during COVID that you should not take, and now every homeowner in the Lake Monticello neighborhood, 4,300 roughly rooftops, the second largest homeowners association in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the largest neighborhood in Central Virginia is Lake Monticello, 4,300 rooftops, gated community. You effed up the PPP loan, and now you're going to special assess all the homeowners to make up the difference because the federal government is chasing after you. Now you're making a questionable call by saying 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 10-year-olds can't use a life vest when swimming the lake at Lake Monticello on the 4th of July.
I would double and triple check with your lawyers whether having as one of the last bullet points saying, let it be known that participation in this event is voluntary and strictly at your own risk, absolves you of any issues if
You're going to have a boatload of people in a lake on the 4th of July swimming, including kids, and you won't let people use a swimming vest, a life vest. What are you doing? What are you doing? Who is electing these bozos? No, you know what? Shade intended.
Yeah.
Was it 600, 700,000 in an illegal PPP loan in COVID?
Something like that.
And now, little kiddies, you can't use the life vest to swim the lake on the 4th of July.
A 10-year-old can't use a life vest to swim 433 yards.
Yeah, give me a break.
That's a long way.
That's a long way. That is a long way. When there's adults and potentially hundreds of swimmers all in the same spot swimming with each other in choppy waters, how are you going to lifeguard hundreds of people swimming the lake?
Yeah.
Bozos. All right, that's the show. And remember, any executive office space you guys need, reach out to us. We'll get you connected with executive office space all over Charlottesville and Albemarle County. And if you're looking to buy or sell a business, we've done more than $4 million in business brokerage transactions in the last 24 months. We're working on one right now that is in the home services categories, top line of right at $4 million, just a fleet of assets. If you're looking to get into the space, let me know. Non-disclosure agreements and proof of funds before any information is passed to you. But I'll tell you what, it's a business opportunity of generational proportions. You know where to find me. Judah Wickhauer, yours truly, Jerry Miller, the I Love CVille Show.